Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Hitcircle Podcast. It's me, Spaza17. Good to see you. And today, guys, I'm actually super excited to have my guest. He's an OSU top player, ex number one worldwide Twitch streamer, arguably the best hard rock player in the game, but undoubtedly the best nerve control player in the entire game. This man does not know how to shake. It's incredible. None other than idke, everyone. Give me a round of applause for idke. Hello, hello. How are you doing, man? It's good to see you back on Twitch recently.
I don't know.
This whole Corona stuff has been fucked up for most of us. I don't know how it's working over there in the US. I spoke to Willie last time, and he's told me it varies from state to state. How is it going now?
I have no idea because I don't even go outside, so it doesn't really affect me.
Let's fucking go, guys. OSU players, everyone. Every single one of them has said this, by the way, up until now. There's not a single person that said anything else. All right. So, it's good to see you back again. I've been watching your stream since 2017, I believe, when you UFC Road of Resistance with no mod. I think that's the first stream I watched from you. And you have been kind of inactive on OSU for the last couple of months, but it feels like it's been longer because of this whole Corona craziness. But actually, just 3 months ago, UFC time freeze. That's really not a long time. Do you think the community is, so oversaturated with plays and players that even just being slightly inactive makes people forget about you?
I don't think anyone's really forgot about me. In fact, a lot of people actually ask me to stream every day, but sometimes I'm just too lazy to do, and that's really it. So no to that question.
That applies to, you meaning more like top players in general. Carfi has been inactive since March and people act like he's dead or something. That's very weird to see.
I don't think people would necessarily forget about the players, but they're just too focused on others, like other rising players. So that's probably why you don't really see talk about anyone else. But that's an okay thing. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, for sure. There are so many top players rising now. When it comes to rankings, I suppose it's easy nowadays because of how viable farming has become, especially in DT. But when it comes to actual, rising top players who can do everything, I haven't seen that many, to be honest. Have you?
Nah, not really. Usually those who can play everything are often just the people who could, the people who participate in tournaments as well, I think. Because, tournaments test every skill, and usually they succeed in them if they are good at everything.
Yeah. Many people may not know about this, but you have been involved in the mapping community for quite some time now. Maybe even now, more than before. I am not sure about that. Do you think your experience as a player has helped you through making and modding maps? And how do you compare the two communities, players versus mappers?
Well, there is a huge, gray area between mapper, or huge, I don't know the word, discrepancy between huge lack of communication between mappers and players. Actually, they both have their own little communities. You don't really see people who are in, usually it's either players or mappers, and honestly, even as a mapper, I am not really involved in much mapping communities. And as for modding and mapping experience, I'd have to say no. Modding, mappers do not care about players. That is just a fact.
Damn.
Yeah, mapping, just because you're good at playing doesn't necessarily mean you have the experience to map. It's kind of, I could compare it to looking and analyzing art, but you're not necessarily going to become an artist just by looking at other art pieces, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, you need the experience for it. You need to build up that experience.
It seems like many players, though, are way better at mapping when they get into it. I can think of Matrix, 404 Aim Not Found. Do you feel that on any level?
I don't necessarily think that they are better than other mappers. in any case. Like, you could become really good at mapping if all you do is analyze other maps and try to integrate their style, which is what Matrix and Lucent and I successfully did. But in terms of the skill cap, I believe players do have a little bit more higher, like they have a higher skill ceiling in terms of mapping, only because that when you're good enough at mapping as a player, you could start to see what makes a map like awkward to play without even test playing it. That's the only thing I can think of that players have an advantage over mappers.
But in the same way, you can also figure out which pattern is the best. See fiery maps.
Yeah, I unpopular opinion here. I think all the fucking PP farm maps are very unoptimal, like not optimized for PP mapping. They're just really, which is why people play them. No other reason.
I mean, me personally, I cannot play fiery jumps, but they seem to be the most comfortable for pretty much everyone. I don't know why.
I can agree that fire jumps are the most comfortable only because vertical jumps are more comfortable. It's because when you're playing, you usually move your wrist or your fingers instead of your entire hand compared to horizontal jumps, which is probably why.
Definitely, man. Horizontal jumps are the worst, dude.
Yeah, but horizontal jumps obviously have more potential PP only because it's more spaced.
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, there are so many full screen patterns in many DT jump maps, but actually in the hard rock community, jumps are like frowned upon. It's mostly flow aim, isn't it?
In which community?
Like hard rock players mostly just, get good at streams rather than jumps.
I don't know. I guess that would be only because there are more viable PP maps for streams, because hard rock jumps are severely underrated. Can't really deny that.
Yeah, we've been talking about this whole thing in the new PP system server, where we are trying to balance out hard rock jumps because they are very undervalued in the current PP system. Like, I can only think of maps like Quaver, the long one, and maybe some Soturks one, but there's very, very few hard rock jump maps in comparison to DT.
Yeah, and that's because hard rock jumps aren't underrated because of aim, I believe. It's because of OD. Like even if you map a map that's like 270 BPM at OD10, and you make it like 8 stars, it's only going to be 600 PP at most for an SS. That's pretty much the same thing as hard rock. Like 8-star jumps would probably only give you 600 PP. It's just because that DT maps have the OD, OD advantage.
They go well above 10. Hard rock can't really go.
Most of them are even like 10.8, which is insane because you're not really sacrificing any rhythm complexity for any accuracy. All it is just 1/2 rhythm. So kind of why I think DT is the meta right now as well, and why it's so hard to balance hard rock jumps and DT jumps.
Do you believe hard rock should go over OD10?
Honestly, yeah. Because I doubt that. I really doubt that there will ever be a case where jumps will be like DT jumps will be OD10 or lower, and some people are really good at OD10 already. We gotta raise the skill ceiling a little bit more. People are already hitting SS scores on like 7-minute maps that are like 7 stars, but with hard rock. So, we gotta,
but that's
we gotta make it
you.
Like that's not me.
People? What people?
Oh, like even like Umbre, he SS sidetracked a hidden hard rock. I can only get like 99.5 or something.
Oh, but yeah, of course.
If we raise the skill ceiling, if you raise the skill ceiling of hard rock, then with overall difficulty, I think that would be pretty good for the game actually, and to bring hard rock into as a viable method of gaining ranks.
Yeah, now that you mentioned this, I actually remember there was a tweet some time ago, I think by Azerite, who was talking about how OD11 would be fun if only it wasn't just paired with AR11. Like maybe hard rock could possibly go above and still be viable to hack, I suppose. I mean, at least on simple maps, like even something like Epiphany, for example, that map, which is basically just, consistency, drum and bass, what if that was OD11? I think people would still be getting 99 on it.
Yeah. But that's kind of the sacrifice you have to make. You could also nerf stuff like that doesn't have that much rhythm complexity. Like, you know how like DT jumps are just all 1/2 rhythm at OD 11.1 usually.
Yeah, at best there's like triples in between, but that's not complex.
Yeah. And you could just nerf simple rhythm like that if you really needed to. But in general, yeah, I think OD 11 should be a thing for hard rock.
I wonder how, man, that I actually never thought about that. That's a very good idea. I didn't, I'm still in the old mentality of OD8 plus DT, but in reality, many DT maps nowadays are like OD 9.3 plus DT.
Yeah.
So it's like almost, as you said, there's also 10.8 maps in meta. It's no longer just an OD 11 3-mod thing.
Yeah.
And, there are so many buzzwords, by the way, in the mapping community. I actually wanted to ask you what, in your opinion, is the definition of tech map, because it's evolving continuously.
Honestly, when I see tech map, I see shit mapping. When I see tech map, I only see because of 2018 and beyond, I only see really visual type mapping where everyone just maps really, really fast sliders that you get fucking 33% on. I think Xeris and I were talking about this. We're calling extra credit and half credit for basically trying to play the sliders. Even if you play the sliders, you're probably gonna hit 100 on it. So get 33% on them, and then if you don't even need to follow the slider to get 33% on it. It's you can just click the circle and you get extra credit for it.
Yeah. It's the worst when those are in tournaments, so you must play with score V2.
Yeah.
Why are those in map pools?
Yeah, I don't understand what map poolers idea of map pooling is as well. I appreciate the work they go through to find maps, but their idea of a pool is very questionable. Yeah.
Have you ever tried to do map pooling yourself?
I'm getting into it now, but right now I'm only doing quality assurance checks just to make sure that map pools don't have really bad maps in them, or I just ask what the hell the point of this map is, because sometimes you have the bad map.
Yeah.
But in terms of finding maps myself, I've not done that yet. So yeah.
I've tried doing that, but at the end of the day, I just start thinking of, hey, I played this map, maybe we can get it to cover X skill set, for example, that's still missing. But there's not a whole lot of balancing in many pools nowadays. It's some skill sets are really forgot about. There's barely any, hidden, that's not AR7, 7 stars for no reason, just because of reading. I don't know, that kind of stuff is very weird, but maybe I'm biased because I can't play hidden. What do you think?
I agree with you, because that is not testing the skill set. That is just making the map hard. You don't even need to follow star rating to balance skill sets. In OWC 2019, I think the pool is pretty good up until finals and grand finals, where they really fell off, probably because they don't know what maps tested what. They were out of the skill level of the map pooler, so they couldn't really grasp how hard the map pool would actually be and how useful it is for testing skill sets.
It's kind of weird you say that, because we all know what you did in OWC 2019. Especially grand finals. Was it? I think you have seed 6 out of 7 maps.
It was finals, and I like the finals pool actually. It was better than grand finals for sure. Every grand final I've ever played, I don't think I've ever liked. There's always a lot of really unbalanced pooling. There's just a lot of really bad maps in the pool.
I can think of Game Osu. I think there was many complaints about maps being too hard at the end.
Yeah.
Way too stupid.
Yeah. Because it didn't even really test the skill set. They were just oh, this map, it has very high star rating. Let's put it in the pool. And that's all they thought of. They didn't really think of anything else. Nothing else.
Hey, that's the epic Vaxei map. Let's put it in the pool.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah, it's kind of weird. But the way you describe tech maps, It kind of reminded me of this other buzzword which I still don't understand. Maybe you do. What the hell is movement mapping, man?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's generally accepted, besides by the quote unquote movement mappers, that movement mapping is literally just a meme and shit mapping. Like, all you do is just place down circles, ask a BN to check it, and get. That's only what it is.
So it's like almost a meme.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like pretty much a meme in like every mapping community as well, besides movement mappers community. Like, yeah. And I'm pretty sure it's named that way because they thought like the fucking original mappers like this thought they were making some movement like fucking Picasso or whatever. Like, yeah, you're really making
What?
someone's fucking eyeballs off the screen.
I thought it was based on you moving your cursor through the patterns or some shit. That's why it's called movement
That's
mapping.
fucking bullshit. If that were the case, then every map would be a movement map because you're moving your cursor. They're not manipulating cursor movement at all. They just don't fucking care.
I mean, is movement mapping only related to like patterns that are just awkward to play or stupid, or is it something else? Like, I know there are some very questionable choices, like not having new combos, for example. Like, there are certain maps which are deemed as movement maps that have like 20, 30 without a new combo. It's very strange to play.
It's actually funny you say that. Ironically, in movement mapping, the one thing that makes the most sense is the lack of new combos, which is really funny. Because when you look at it from a mapper standpoint, you could see why they ignore new combos. Like, usually they ignore a certain sound, so then they don't new combo anything if that sound isn't there. I think that's seen in Rendezvous, where the 85 combo or whatever, you can see it's not new comboed because there's only a piano sound and no snare sound where new combos usually follow. But other than that, I don't know what is going on in their heads, to be honest with you. I guess
it's
like
that kind of, being edgy, wanting to push limits, perhaps. I don't know.
maybe, like, who knows? Maybe we're all like, maybe they're the smartest people in the world. Maybe they are like the new Picasso or whatever, where 200 years later, people will be like, damn, movement mapping.
Damn, that was a good map.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because, back when Hollowings was a thing, people were criticizing those maps because they were pushing limits, pushing boundaries, but they were still playable, I suppose. Those ones are really starting to make me scratch my head, sorry.
Yeah, it's funny you say that too, because it's kind of ironic how movement mappers kind of praise Hollowings for being a movement mapper. But in reality, like, Hollowings maps are 10 times better than what they'll ever make, because Hollowings also did care about structure and visuals, and movement mapping, just they don't care. All they care about is just how long can I make this new combo, and how much full screen streams can I make.
Oh yeah, they go crazy with streams more than jumps. I don't know what there's no spacing.
Yeah, it's funny.
Weird.
They really don't like care about jumps. I guess they only care about like fucking how big the spacing is of streams that zigzag.
Oh yeah, also streams divided in doubles, spaced. I don't know why I see that so much.
It emphasizes the music,
I think it's maybe they praise Hollowings because in a certain way, I still don't know if it's a she or he, by the way. I'm just gonna say all right, there we go. So because she changed the whole mapping thing so much with her maps, inspiring players like Axarius. I think Hollowings was a huge inspiration for Axarius and also other mappers like Fanzen, who were already kind of pushing the limits back in the day.
Yeah,
so maybe that's why.
I guess that's why they call her movement mapper, because she started a large movement of making some pretty good maps. But then that's not what these movement mappers are doing. They're just making like really stupid maps that someone just barfs up on Reddit for attention or what. I guarantee you, if you just stop caring about them, they will just collapse with the lack of attention.
Oh yeah, well, I don't really get involved in mapping community because I just don't understand what's going on. Every day it's like they kill each other over something different. So
Yeah.
Do you see that in any way? I mean, I'm not involved at all. I don't know what's going on in those threads, man.
Yeah. I was kind of involved in the most recent one. People were just like Deets. For context, Deets was mapping a song and he purposely ignored hit sounding for 5 seconds for calm section. And then Cherry, the mapper, or yeah, the movement mapper, and also BN was vetoed his map for some reason. And I think the reason why like it started a huge war is because everyone thought it was like ironic that Sherry was the one who wanted to veto the map, and that just kind of created a war over just circles not being hit sounded. And eventually, I think it ended with Nathan posting something about how Hollowing saying that she just doesn't get moving.
Oh yeah, I saw that
mapping.
screenshot actually. I did. But for clarity, because I mean, I'm very ignorant of this stuff. What is a veto?
Veto is honestly, I'm not really into like I'm not the smartest person for BN work because I have yet to got BN achieve BN as well. But I believe it is when a BMAN nominator puts a map into, I think the word is mediation. They're allowed to stop a map from being nominated, and if that goes through, then a lot of other BNs have to get involved to see whether the veto was justified, as well as NATs. So yeah.
Do you think the mapping, ranking system has improved throughout the years?
Yes, but actually no.
Oh boy.
Since 2017, I believe, with the leave of Lockdav, a lot more interesting maps have popped up, and that's a good thing. But also the negative thing is you have no control. You have no subjective quality over what maps can get ranked now. So if Lockdav never have left, we would not have ever seen Alien or maps ever like that. But we would also, but if he did leave, which he did, then we would see fucking movement mapping, and we do.
Damn. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, really.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe those movement maps will eventually push someone to map properly, like Hollowings. I don't know. Maybe they can take certain things from those maps.
I think Hollowings pretty much retired too. And
no, I meant just like Hollowings did back in those days. Maybe some new mappers will see movement mapping and turn them into something good by taking certain elements.
There are no good elements about movement mapping. Just to clarify.
I was trying to get some hope, but no. All right, nice.
That's another topic I'd like to talk about too. It's when people who map, all they do is try to make like the next best edgy map, but then honestly, they're kind of too late for that. So I believe personally that mappers should just focus on just making the best map they can rather than the next edgy map. Because a lot of things have already been done. Not saying all of them has been done, but even if you did explore the maps or mapping that has not been done, it's usually very, very similar to something that has been done.
Oh, so you basically, everyone tries to create the next big map, the next, whether it's, spacing in jumps with the best far map ever, or, the newest, edgiest, no combo change map. But they should focus more on, actually just making their own thing, rather. I think that's what mapping was back in like 2014, 2015. There were some people pushing limits back in those days too, like Fanzen, I believe. When was Miss You ranked?
2014, I believe.
Yeah, those were the days, man. Willie will agree.
Very early 2015. Yeah. Okay, but to be fair, like back then, even if you're pushing limits, that's nothing compared to today. Miss You was a pretty good map, and it did open up a lot of new things. But you can't really do that now because everyone just maps. Just everything's been done really, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't make another good map. It just means that you shouldn't explore something that's been done, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if today a map came out that's similar to Miss You, it's just low BPM map, no one cares. And probably
I
not many people
actually,
will play it either, probably. I don't know.
actually, I think that if someone made another Miss You, it would become very popular because no one has really copied how unique Miss You is in terms of like playing it as well. I think everyone has already advanced, like created better visuals, created better rhythm, but in terms of how it plays, I think Miss You is still one of the top tier low BPM tech maps for me.
Yeah. And I mean, those you can call it tech because it's like, what
It's
elements
just
does it
not
have?
jumps.
Doubles and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
it's just not jumps. I just say tech as in like I think this is like pretty true for everyone now. I'm pretty sure I could speak for a lot of people. We just say tech when it's just not like comfortable or comfortable streams, or yeah, it's
That's
like
where the
very
the whole meme about honesty being a tech map, I think
yeah
was because someone said it in a more, generic way.
yeah. It's a tech map because there aren't very comfortable streams. It's all like pentagon streams and stupid.
Yeah, things like that. But I was thinking, there's one thing about mapping that maybe gets ignored a bit, and as a player, I definitely do, unfortunately, disable like custom hit sounds. Do you think hit sounding is really important in mapping?
Another yes, but actually no. It is very important to mappers, but not players. Players often just don't care about anything besides like how the map is, like how where the circles are placed. Which, even no matter how good the map looks, no matter how cool the map sounds, that doesn't matter. Players only focus on like the core foundations of the map rather than the extras. You know.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I I only care about playing the map. I don't really care if certain sounds are more emphasized. And custom hit sounds usually just throw me off. They make my heck go bye bye.
Yeah. I do play with custom hit sounds though, but obviously some maps are really atrocious. Like, yeah, that's when I disable
That
them.
that one fourth map. How is that called? Game
Oh, that
over or
was
something? No, no,
yeah,
no.
high score.
Oh yeah,
That
there we
one's
go.
really fucking atrocious. It's like every measure has another crowd cheering in the background, and like in the editor it looks pretty cool, but when you're playing it, it's like you have no response and you just hear lots and lots of shouting for no reason.
Oh yeah, and if you pause the game, that sound continues. I don't know why. You
Yeah,
still hear
that's
the
just how.
cheering. I don't know how
Yeah,
that
that's how hit
sounds
sounds
work.
work. That's why you could have like a 5 minute hit sound and then it just plays forever. But
Yeah.
I think that can get you silenced, I believe.
Have you ever touched storyboarding at all?
Nope. I was interested, but I have no experience with coding, which is all what storyboarding is.
Yeah, I think back in the day it was mostly just moving shit in the editor, but nowadays there are storyboards are incredible nowadays. Obviously, they don't
Yeah.
just use in-game stuff. Definitely not.
Mm.
But moving away from mapping, you have played obviously since you are so good at consistency. Which, by the way, I would like to know your definition of it because people like to make differentiations between consistency in single player and multiplayer, aka tournaments.
Single consistency basically it exists in single player, but it's useless. Everyone thinks that like it's a skill you can practice, but in reality, it's just the summation of just being all your skills being put together. So what that means is that you're just good. I've made this comparison a lot. You could be consistent and or consistently bad, but it just matters how good you are. So if you could potentially hit a 6-star jump. You could hit it. You're good enough to hit it. But the thing is, you may not be able to hit that every time. But you are good enough to hit 5-star jumps every time. That's kind of like the comparison I make. You can't really train consistency. It's just something that happens if you're just good enough, you know?
Oh yeah, I mean, many people make the assumption that if you play long maps, you are more consistent. I mean, you can train consistency that way.
Not really. That's just persistency. That's two different things, which is like you the ability to play a long map without feeling and yeah, just without faltering, I guess.
Yeah. So you have played so many tournaments throughout time, and for a player of your caliber who has won so many tournaments, and I think you have 3 or 4 badges for WC. I'm not sure. You started in 2016, maybe, so 3 of them, right?
I think it's 4, but one in second place because Poland was too good.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was legendary. But you made a very unexpected announcement a while back, which I certainly wasn't expecting because, again, you are such a good tournament player. You want to take a 1-year-long break from every single tournament, whether it's 1v1, teams, and you even said, I mean, this goes even as far as you not participating in OWC 2020. What's your reasons behind that?
Well, there's no really big secret or reason behind that. I felt like I've done everything in tournaments, and so I don't really want to play. I haven't even felt like playing in a tournament in a long time as well. Even before OWC 2019, it was kind of like my interest in tournaments was kind of like waning. And then 2019, because how good of a year that was, it pretty much solidified my feeling for tournaments, which is just I'm not really interested anymore.
So you feel like you've accomplished everything you could possibly accomplish. I mean, obviously, OWC 2019 was a great closure if you think about that.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you reach number 1. I mean, not a lot of people can relate, but if you reach number 1 in OC, you kind of just don't really care about ranking anymore because you've done it. You're the best. So, and that's kind of the similar case for tournaments for me. I've done everything, so there's really no reason for me to continue. Maybe in the future I'll play 1 or 2, but it's not like I'll play it as much as I did before.
Oh, so it's not just a 1-year thing. You actually, not really interested in general. You want to just go and do something else now.
Yeah, I think the earliest I said that I would probably play a tournament would be OWC 2021, which would be like a 2-year break. But even then, I don't even think I would be playing in 2021.
Are you gonna participate in OWC as Steph? I think I heard that one time.
I don't know where that came from, but that's a good idea. I might get into the map pooling.
I am not sure. That. I think you mentioned it once in one of your recent streams where you just answered all kinds of questions. But maybe it was just a random idea. I don't know.
I think it was a random idea. I'm pretty sure I've never said anything about this, but that's a good idea. I'll probably apply for map.
Oh, yes. Imagine map pool made by idke. Now that will be exciting for players. Are you gonna cheer your country? Who do you think is gonna win OWC 2020? If
Germany,
you would
obviously.
Guess. Germany?
Yeah. A lot of the basically I'm not saying that the United States can't win, but there are definitely going to be more underdogs, the underdogs in this year because Vaxi and I were just basically had the team on our backs. I'm not saying that the rest of the team wasn't good, but
hey, Apraxa is in chat. Hey, be careful.
I just think that we were just on top of everything. I think that was the reason. But in terms of United States, they have some really good players coming in. I think I predict that Bistro and Fancy Lad will get in because their tournament performance has been really good recently.
Yeah, Beast has been going nuts in tournaments. Actually improving most of his skill sets he was weak at, especially hidden.
Yeah, he's pretty good now.
So you say Germany. That's very, very interesting. I never thought about that. They also got Whitecat, I think, in the next one.
I wonder why. Maybe it's because they have a fucking German version of Vaxi now. And yeah.
I mean, hey, you never know about tournament performance, right?
Yeah. I think that Whitecat did very well in a lot of show matches and a lot of multi matches. Granted, that doesn't really say much, but we can't really. I think he will do pretty well because he's just that good. He's just very good at everything.
Yeah. Actually, one interesting question. I mean, many people, including myself, still consider you the absolute best when it comes to hard rock worldwide. But do you think it's just that many people don't even bother tryharding those maps? You have seen, for example, Uta which,
Um,
I mean, it's considered kind of a farm map now on no mod. Obviously, on Hard Rock, it's way different. But do people just not try that?
I think people just don't want to try it. Like, I genuinely believe that all my scores are beatable now, but people just don't want to. I feel I know I was ahead of the game, but I feel like people are catching up, and I am not sure why. A lot of my scores have not been beaten yet. Maybe I'm a lot more ahead than I thought. Like maybe I'm index level where I was 4 years ahead of everyone, but yeah.
I mean, if you talk about you versus other Hard Rock players, maybe, you know, I can only think of maybe Dust Eyes, perhaps White Cat. I mean, he got rid of resistance, but I mean, there are not that many players who have that level of Hard Rock skill and nerve control, especially in my opinion, to be able to match many of your scores. Do you feel that on any level? I mean, Index was way ahead of his time for sure.
I don't know. I guess people do have like the mechanical skill for like people do have the aim, but I guess nerve control is a huge factor I wasn't thinking of. I always just shrugged off nerve control as just like, yeah, you know, just don't get nervous. Well, not like that, but
Easy,
the
guys.
The reason why I think that way is because I look at Cookie Z and he has no nerve control whatsoever, but he still hits everything. That's kind of like what I think. You know, like have you seen his Freedom Dive play? That man was shaking.
Yeah,
Tengaku,
he's so
everything.
shaky, especially in tournaments. I remember watching Game Osu. It was very weird. I mean, I watched it live. I was literally like right there, and I could see the shakes.
Yeah, and he still hits everything. That's kind of why I think nerve control is like a joke. It's not really something that you need, I guess, but it is it is cool.
I think you mentioned sometime that nerve control, there's actually ways to practice it in a way. Is that true at all, do you think? And if so, how do you usually train nerve control, and how did you reach this point where you have nerves of steel, like you barely shake, especially even in tournaments, very high stake tournaments, you still don't really shake all that much?
Yeah, it's all about conditioning yourself, but like I said, it's called nerve control for a reason, not removal of nerves, because that's just impossible unless you really don't care. That's like the only way you're not going to get nervous is if you just don't care. Like, you know, you FC something you've already FC'd like 10 times over. You don't really care about that. But
or
in terms of nerve control,
before your match, see what
oh yeah,
that game also, man. What the fuck?
It was so good. I don't believe like Polish. They just alcohol is their superpower. It's their drug of choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of controlling, there are a lot of methods, but I think like one for controlling shakes, which is what everyone cares about, is just as soon as you choke and as soon as you shake, just keep playing. Like try to relax your hand. As long as you're conscious of it and try to relax your hand, then eventually, maybe after months, you will stop shaking. But that's only if you keep practicing when you're shaking too. You know, like I know when people choke, they kind of just like throw their pen down. They kind of take a break until they stop shaking. You want to keep playing to those shakes, basically.
Yeah, man, I've tried to do that. It's so like you start missing on 5-star jumps, but actually it's very useful, I think. Especially if you're gonna play tournaments, there's really not that much time between picks. So you need to get used to shaking, I suppose.
Yeah, and that's also why when you see him grinding, like if I choke the end, I just immediately retry just to, you know, continue that, just to practice that. And as for like, yeah, I think that's like the main problem everyone thinks they have with nerve control is, but honestly, personally, my problem now is reading. Like I start tunnel visioning some notes, like, and I can't even see other ones. So my aim gets really delayed when I'm nervous now instead of shaking. And that's not a good thing.
Usually, how do you read patterns then? Do you look at notes individually?
Yeah, individually. And I try to snap to them so that it would be, you know, you kind of like that. Snapping kind of forces you to look at notes individually as well, which is why a lot of people do that.
That's interesting. I mean, certainly there are different ways to play, but it seems like many people like to look at nodes individually and focus on them so it doesn't become all blurry and, again, as you said, tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just read this great message. Ask him how EFC in the UTA. What does that mean? I'm sorry. Oh yeah, what were you saying?
Just play Udo 1,000 times. No, but I think that's really it for my advice on nerve control. Like there's some other factors, like you know how some people mash or their heart rate becomes 150,000 and they breathe really hard, and yeah.
Oh yeah, I found that one of my issues when it comes to longer maps and MFCing, I start gripping my pen super fucking hard. Do you ever get that?
Yeah. I used to, like, you know, when I got nervous, I used to do that as well. But obviously, as long as you're self-aware of that situation, you could practice to not do that. Like you gotta, you know, you could just, as long as you're self-aware, you could learn to relax your hand a little bit, and eventually that problem will go away just after months and months of conditioning yourself.
Yeah, I think that's something many people should start doing, because there are so many scores that are possible, but it's always the nerve control, man. And I'm not only talking for myself, you know, many players have choked longer maps before White Cat comes and does them, but you know, that's how it is.
That's what I mean. Like, I kind of think as nerve control as a joke, because you have, on one side, you have people like Cookie Z who have no nerve control, but they hit every single note anyways. And you have the other side, like Varvalian, who misses like 1-star perfectly stacked sliders because he's nervous. Like, that's kind of just what I guess Cookie is just really good at keeping his tapping consistent when he's nervous, but Varvalian is like, he doesn't have that kind of nerve control, I believe.
Yeah, I think Varvalian is actually a very strange playstyle, because I don't know if you ever saw his monitor. He has such a small play area. It's like fucking weird, man. Like his circles must look like CS7 on normal hard rock. I don't know how he does that. Yeah,
I know what you mean. But also I have a really weird playstyle too. I play on like a friggin' 2K resolution 27-inch monitor that's only a foot away from my screen, so all the circles are like circle size 2. But I guess if you just play that way, you'll get used to it and you don't really see that anymore.
Oh, that's the secret for hard rock then. You're actually playing no mod.
Playing no mod. But also, it's funny you say that, because like, coincidentally, 2 full screen jumps are like left and right. If I look at the left one, it's gonna be in my blind spot in my eye for the right side. That's kind of like the funny part. So it's like coincidentally, like I am playing with a lot of blind spots on my.
That's very interesting. I never thought of that. You also have a big area, don't you?
Yeah, I have a pretty big area.
I think that's very useful for being consistent. Do you feel like small area people are perhaps, you know, have a bit more issues keeping their control, especially on things like hard rock or hard rock jumps, because they require way more precision than DT?
Oh, I don't believe so, to be honest with you. I think tablet area is a preference, and like that's proven by Zoodinator. You could have giant jumps and you can hit everything, and you also have like I can't remember his name, but there's a top player with a really, really tiny area that's like also a square area. I think Best Ice has that actually. I think Rustbell has that as well, and they're really good. So tablet area is definitely a preference in this case, and I don't believe that. I think tablet area does affect like how much you shake though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's definitely going to be like multiplied if you have a really tiny area, but like I said, you could learn to not shake basically.
I was thinking of that one Japanese player, like how is it called, Mugio 3? Like that guy was so like his aim was robot-like, but I think he had a small area.
Yeah.
So in the end, it's all subjective. I wonder about his nerves. I don't think he ever. I mean, maybe he was shaking at the end of Sentimental Skyscraper, but that's all I can remember really.
That was so good.
I hate the rankers. Oh, great. Actually, I don't think I asked him about that. I kind of wanted to, talking about tournaments.
I hate the rankers.
Oh, damn. Now we know his opinion already. Right?
No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, I don't really care about the rankers, but as long as they're not annoying. and they don't affect like top tournament plays. Like they could do whatever they want, but the good thing is to counteract derankers in top tier tournaments was badge weighted seeding. I think that's a really good system put into.
Oh yeah, definitely. Do you think there's a way to like do something about the rankers in the lower range? I know of people that have like almost 3-digit skill, but they are still 5-digit. Like, that's terrifying.
Badge weighted seeding still, definitely. And it like even yeah. If you I think they should ban people from entering 4-digit tournaments if they have like 2 or more badges from 4-digit tournaments, and you would have to. Or and also another thing is that I'm like what I meant to say was it doesn't really matter if you're a deranker, because it just matters how good of a person you are. And I know a lot of derankers have fucking egos up the ass, and it's so annoying. That's why a lot of people hate derankers, because they're
Yeah,
also
that's
really
actually
annoying.
true. Yeah, they for some reason they get ego by beating
They're
players.
just like
It's fucking
it's
weird,
like
man.
smurfing. It's like, oh wow, what do you hope to prove by beating like people who by beating people who are like supposedly 100 times like that have 100 times less ranks than you.
Yeah,
But
that's very strange. I don't know why it happens. I kind of think, one problem with players, maybe top players even nowadays, is they take themselves a bit too seriously, I think. So even if they win, they're like, fuck yeah, but if they lose, they get depressed, in tournaments.
Yeah, I think people should stop. Like, I know tournaments mean a lot to people, but having that toxic mindset would basically set you up for failure. You have to, like, I think a really good mindset I developed was that I stopped comparing myself to people in tournaments. Like, I didn't really care about other people's scores. I just only cared about my own scores. And that really helped me practice more as well.
Oh yeah, actually one thing, since we all know about your OWC performance, I mean, obviously in OWC everyone tryhards, so you're gonna try to pull more compared to any community tournament, but usually how do you approach map pool practice?
I
Because
usually do 2
you don't
runs.
strike me as the kind of guy who just plays it once before and then just goes.
Oh yeah, definitely not. Okay, I can compare it easily to wait, hold on, I'm eating. Give me a second.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay. I can easily comparing it to like taking an exam in school. You want to study the material over and over, and that's like playing the pool. Like you want to play the map maybe twice or something to understand, like to know the map, and then every other time after that is kind of like review of where you missed and how to fix that. And before you take an exam, you're not just gonna go in without any practice, right? You're not gonna go in without even reviewing. That's kind of like the same thing with tournaments. For me, I always before every tournament starts, I always practice at least 2 or 3 hours before it actually starts.
Oh wow, before the match itself?
Yeah,
Damn, that's a
I
long
want to get
time.
much practice in. Yeah, 3 hours for people is a lot apparently for tournaments, but for me, it's totally normal. Like that is almost as much time as just studying for an exam. Like it's not a big deal in my opinion.
Oh well, I mean, I'm different when it comes to that because I genuinely just can't play more than like 2 hours each day. Also, I really have low tolerance for games in general. But yeah, I guess 2 or 3 hours isn't that much for the average player. I know people that play like 8 hours each day. That's fucked. How
No,
can you do that?
I agree with you though. I agree with you for I can't play more than 2 hours a day. So I have to like that's why in tournaments you see my activity stop. It's because I put all my time into practice instead of playing other stuff. I'm very, very serious about getting better in tournaments, but I don't really care about losses personally. I just care about getting better.
Yeah, also map pools, when they get huge, you spend like 1 hour and 30 just to play to the map pool once. So if you want to practice it more than once, it's like already 3 hours or something.
Yeah, but that's also a thing I said. I usually play the same maps twice before I move on. And if you have a huge map pool, you could split it into 2 days. Like you could practice 2/3 of the pool to get 2 hours, and then play the other pool, like other third, and reset it like for the other day. And so like you could, yeah.
That's a good way to look at it, though. Almost as if it's an exam. You just have to study more and more. And you can also, of course, split. One day you do this, one day you do that, so you don't end up playing the pool the day before. I mean, there are people who sight read in tournament. I don't know how they do that, but they're not the most reliable.
Yeah, and they usually get like one good FC, and then they get like 200k, and then they call themselves underperformers. It's like, okay, dude, you sight read the fucking pool. What do you expect?
So you, if you see only one replay in the locals, what do you think then?
I am not letting them play. That's why in OWC as well, like I kind of refuse to let Airyu play because he would not practice some maps, and we kind of just let him play because he was just on the team. He wasn't really playing.
I don't.
But
think
I'm not saying that like
he plays a lot of OSU in general. It's very.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of strange. Also, I admire that thing. You know, how can you be so good without playing that much?
Oh yeah, by the way, I just want to say that I'm not taking away from Aryu's skill. I'm just saying that like he didn't put as much time in the pool as he should have. But when people don't play that much, I actually think that's a good thing, but also bad. Like just because they don't play that much doesn't mean they don't put all of their hours into practice. Like you could play 8 hours a day and only actually spend 1 hour practicing, while those who play maybe 1 hour a day will basically get the same amount of practice in because they spend all their time practicing.
Yeah. I mean, most importantly, people that play like 8 hours a day, they will eventually get burned out way quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in terms, yeah, some people are just so good to the point where they could just sight read because that map doesn't really have anything like unsight readable. So it's just all about, playing the game. Like, it depends how good you are.
Yeah. So, stepping outside of OSU for a sec, I was actually wondering, outside of the internet world, meaning offline, what are some of your other hobbies people may not know about? For example,
what?
Hobbies outside of OSU and offline hobbies like, I don't know, cooking and shit.
Last time I cooked on stream, I fucking made like really burnt cookies that were also just slop. Like they just disintegrated into mud.
I remember that. Was that you who burned that pizza?
No, that was not me.
Who was that?
That was OKS Backstab, famed internet redditor that trolls people. But yeah,
all right,
that was him. We were playing. I forgot we were playing, but then randomly he was like, "Oh shit, I forgot. I left my pizza in the oven for 3 hours," and then he just took a picture of it. That just became the meme.
Oh yes, I remember that.
But in terms of hobbies, I'm getting back into my old hobbies that I quit because of I was like really sad and I was really hard on myself. So like drawing and origami and stuff. Those are things I really love to do. Just any artistic thing.
Oh yeah, origami are very fun and actually relaxing to do. I found.
But I guess that's why I could focus so much. But even though I can't focus in other things, origami is so peaceful, and I could spend just 4 hours just doing nothing but folding paper. I could actually just do that.
Yeah, new live stream ideas. Just you doing origami.
I could do that.
Do you draw digitally or like old school pencil paper?
I think I mostly drew and I did both really. I think I had a balance of both, but I think I did better in just drawing on pencil and paper because I can't digitally
use digitally. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's a very, very different style of drawing. It is very, very different, but I think digitally has more potential than traditional.
Oh yeah, nowadays definitely. I mean, also in terms of coloring and stuff. But yeah, old school is just cool to do. You do it since you're a kid. Mm-hmm. And the other thing I wanted to ask you was, I mean, most of us are students. I think you are a student in something related to science, right?
Yeah, chemistry.
Oh my god, chemistry? What? I hate chemistry.
I
That's
love chemistry, except I fucking suck.
I think I enjoy more biology, to be honest. At least when I was in high school, I was so glad we moved from chemistry to biology. Of course, I had to know chemistry to do that, but at least biology, you kind of understand what's going on, what does what.
Oh, it's actually funny because we had to take biology before we could take chemistry in high school. But I agree with you. Biology in high school was so fun. Like the teacher was so cool. But when I took it in college, I kind of wanted to die.
How come?
It was okay. So I'm trying to transfer into like a university, like University of California, Irvine, and that's like one of my. It's not like my dream school, but I think it's like the school I kind of want to go to only because good school, lots of friends there. But so I needed to take biologies for major course, and there's a lot of theory involved, and I cannot tell you how much I hate that because we had to deal with like stupid shit like Kelvin cycle and remembering how much ATP is involved in like in each thing, and I can't tell you how much I just hated that. It's just all memorization, and that's kind of what I don't like. Like there's not really a lot of hands-on work.
Oh yeah, chemistry to me was hard, especially because it was memorization, just a bunch of letters and combinations and stuff. Do you relate to that in any way?
That's what I love about chemistry, to be honest. It's just you memorize the formulas, just plug in numbers, and that's it. It is a lot of tedious work, but it is like I like that. I know like people who suffer in Gen Chem will appreciate organic chemistry, but that's also true for the opposite way. Like people who love Gen Chem, like me, I kind of like Gen Chem, but I know I'll suffer in organic chemistry because it's all like mechanisms and memorizing like everything, and I hate that so much.
Yeah, and memorization, I mean, mostly it's stuff you're never going to use, probably. I'm not sure. I mean, you're studying chemistry. Do you have any idea about any future job or anything like that related to science?
Honestly, since my major is chemistry, all I'm going to do is just like the only thing I can do pretty much is just research. But if I was taking like biochemistry or chemical engineering, which are really cancer, but I could land like maybe a job like developing pharmaceuticals if I went to med school or grad school, or like making like weapons, like cool stuff like that. But otherwise, I think it'll just be, for me right now, it'll just be like researching how much a reaction would make, like how much a reaction would yield, I guess, a certain product. I think that's like pretty much the only thing that there is.
And how about non-related to your degree? What if you wanted to do something else? What would that be to you?
Dude, honestly, I would love to be an animator. I can't tell you how much I love animations, but I suck at them,
animations.
So it's just more as a hobby,
man. I mean, hey, you never know, right? But that's very interesting. I didn't know you will do animation. I mean, you mentioned drawing, but do you have any experience in animation? Like, I don't know, Photoshop?
Oh, hell no. I meant like yeah. But animating things is just so interesting to me. But I think it might stay as a hobby, like I'll eventually pursue, rather than a lifelong career like chemistry.
Yeah, I guess chemistry is way more reliable as a career. Animation is kind of weird. I think also the whole like animators don't get paid as much as they should. It's very strange. It's a very strange phenomenon. I didn't look into it that much.
I think that's like only a thing in Japan, though. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I saw that it was about Japan. I don't know about. I think they pay well in Italy because we have a huge thing with animation. I'm not sure about the US though.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, to be honest. I haven't really been paying attention.
Yeah. So this is something that I ask every single guest, but in your case it's a bit different because obviously you won so many World Cups. You have got some Osu merch sent to you. But what do your parents think of what you do online? And I mean, do they even have a grasp on what Osu is, how the game works, and the concept of tournament and World Cup?
Yes, they do, but not to like a certain extent. They support what I do. Like they know if I need to practice, I'll do it. But they also, like every other Asian parent, they just want me to succeed in school, and I want to too as well. But they're not like every Asian parent who's like, oh, you have to be really, really good. They just kind of like care about where I'll land, I guess. Like as long as I don't fail, that's pretty much their ideology. Because I'm already a success in some way. Yeah.
Sorry, you're kind of lagging. I hope people don't. I mean, maybe it's just on my end. I have no idea. But yeah, so basically, they do know how the game works. Do they have a grasp on things like live streaming? Because at least here in Italy, maybe people are just too old. They don't know what that is. Maybe over there in the US, it's a bit more developed. They know what live streaming is.
Yeah, my parents know what live streaming is, and they're like, oh, that's cool. But like I said, they think it's cool, but like I said, they just want me to finish school and that's it. Like I'll just they know I'm in charge of my own life, but they also want to make sure that I don't fail. I guess that's it.
Yeah, and I mean, what do they have an opinion on full-time streaming as an actual career?
I think they think it's really cool because I also told them about like I told them though, like I said I'm probably not going to pursue that because it's really hard to, but it has high potential. Like I told them an example about Bistro, and
oh yeah, of course.
First thing my parents asked was, "Is he Asian?" And I'm like, "Yes." But yeah, I kind of use him as an example of how the high potential of streaming, but I can't pursue that. Like I don't think I have the ability to like be.
Yeah, I mean you really need to sacrifice a lot to pursue streaming. It really depends on who you are as a person. I mean, even if I were to have X amount of viewers or subs, I'm not sure I would be able to be a full-time streamer. I don't think so.
Me neither. I have been flirting with the idea though, but I'm not sure if I could pull it off. Like I don't think I'll be that successful.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think you mentioned something about creating content on YouTube. Maybe you could possibly do both. But yeah, that's only if you really don't have very much free time, which all students most likely don't have, especially in chemistry. What the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of free time. I'm just saying that. Like, some days, it's kind of like the thing is with people in school, they act like they don't have time for anything, but you could learn to balance a lot of things. And I think I have a pretty good balance of that now. I have, like, obviously some days I need to dedicate to schoolwork only, but I still have a lot of free times on the days I do have off. Like even today, I have a lot of time today. So it's just the reason why I haven't been, personally, why I haven't been making videos or anything. It's only because I'm too lazy, not because of any other reason.
Oh, that's nice. Actually, that's something that's right here for the subsection, which, by the way, we are getting into now. All of my subs have sent me some questions. Some of them were really dumb, so I just took them out. But some ones are actually very interesting. So the first one was, and I already know the answer to this because we've talked about it before, but maybe people don't know. So, hey, Hitcircle, why did you decide to stop replay channels from uploading your stuff?
Wanted to kick off my own channel, and that's it. Like no other reason. And it's kind of like I could upload my own plays when I don't feel like uploading content, and I'll still get, I'll still grow my channel. That's kind of what I was thinking of.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you really haven't made that much content, I suppose, outside of Osu gameplay. Do you plan on making like tutorials or talking about stuff like Pishifat, for example?
Yeah, that was exactly what I was planning. Not tutorials, but kind of like, I think a series I was thinking of was mapping, but from a player's perspective, like a player who could both play the game and map. That was like one of the series I was thinking of, but I don't know if I could pull it off because, like I said, it's just I'm too lazy. Yeah, that's it.
So it's just laziness, not lack of time or anything.
Yeah, not definitely. It's just I'm just lazy. I'm a very lazy person.
Well, it doesn't seem like it because you play all of those long maps. Such amount of patience. But yeah, apparently.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's because it's fun. Yeah, it's just very fun that way for me. It's not because I think it's a chore, but that's kind of why.
Yeah. So this one question is very simple and it kind of sounds stupid, but I wanted to expand on it. So why do you have so many cats? Now, before you answer, I just want to point out there's a huge cultural difference between Italy and probably other places. Like over here, we don't really have those huge gardens that you guys have in the US, or those spots where you can keep a lot of animals and stuff. We usually just have one pet inside the home itself. Why do you have so many cats? Like, you have a lot of cats.
Very easy answer. It's not because I wanted a cat. Like, I wanted a cat a long time ago, and we did get cats. My mom loves to rescue cats, and that's the only reason why.
Oh, so pet rescuing.
Yeah, and she keeps them, but sometimes, like, she rescued a lot of cats, but sometimes she gets a little bit too attached, and those are kind of the ones we keep. Like, so that's why we have a lot of cats.
Oh yeah, because I mean, pet rescuing means you basically save them from the streets and then you give them away. Like you find them a home.
Yeah.
Oh,
and sometimes, yeah, like I said, my mom gets a little bit too attached, and we keep them. Like, one cat, her name is Pudding. She was a pregnant cat, and she gave birth to 7 cats. So she gave away the baby, like a lot of them. But the thing is, she couldn't get rid of 3. She's not getting rid of it. That sounds a little bit harsh, but she couldn't like find adopters for certain ones. And so she got really attached to them, and instead of actively searching for people who wanted them, she just kept them. So now we also kept the mother cat too, because she really liked her. She didn't want the mom cat to just go back into like the dumps or whatever. Yeah.
So right now, how many cats do you actually own? Meaning they are yours?
17, because 2 of them, the old
Holy
ones,
shit.
went away.
17.
Yeah, Shiro and Ginger are their names. Like, I miss Shiro already. She was a really nice cat. But they were basically, we're basically kind of like housing them until their owners came back from like a trip, or not a trip, like a business trip to another country. So yeah, and they left like only a week ago.
Oh, damn. Oh, well, still 17 cats. That's a lot of cats. Damn. Way more than I expected. I thought they were like, I don't know, 7 or 8. But you... Yeah. Wow.
By the way, Shiro is White Cat, the White Cat I've been memeing. She was a really nice one. And
oh, no.
The one I just kept calling White Cat. But yeah, she's in a better place. Like, she's with a better owner, because their owner could give a lot more attention to her and stuff.
Oh, well, I mean, at least that's nice. She's in a good spot now.
Yeah.
All right, so now it's time for chat to fire their own questions, and we can answer them and then wrap this up. Holy shit, it's been more than 1 hour already. I need to drink some water. Give me a sec. There we go. All right. Guys, you can write your questions down below, and I will pick some of them and ask them. It's for both idke and me, by the way, if you have any things you're wondering. This one is very dumb, but this guy is my friend, so I know he asks this to everyone. Do you prefer mayo or ketchup?
Mayo.
Mayo? Nice, me too. There we go. And we also got influenced by that when we were in the Netherlands.
Mixing both is really good, but I gotta say that I would rather dip my fries in mayo than ketchup.
Yeah, like over there in the Netherlands, there was almost no ketchup.
That too. I mean, ketchup is pretty good on fries, but like I said, mayo, much better. Well, actually, no. I believe ketchup is better on fries, but like stuff like sandwiches, then mayo is way better.
Yeah, obviously. What do you think of wrapping pans? Oh yeah, that's for grips, right? Using a tennis grip on your pen so it doesn't slide away, I guess.
Hold on, I'm eating. Give me like one.
Okay, I can respond to that in the meanwhile. I I like it, but that's just because I have a strange grip and I also have a small area, so it's like the perfect combo to get fucked if you don't have anything. So at first I used bands because that's what Raw Hulk did back in the day, but it wasn't really optimal, so I just opted to buy a tennis grip. And then I saw after, a couple of months, other top players started doing it, like Vaxei, but I actually had it for years. It's kind of fun.
I think personally, grips like that are good if for no other reason than if your hand just slips out of your hand. But I don't use it because I have another way of doing it, which is just blowing a fan into my hand so it stops sweating. But I think it's pretty viable if you have very clammy hands.
Yeah. I also, blowing, like, right now it's summer, it's getting extremely hot, so I will have to pick out my fan again. It's impossible for me to play without it. Alright, favorite game growing up as a child?
Paper Mario, easy.
Are you excited for the Switch release?
Honestly, no.
How come?
Because everyone knows that Thousand Year Door and the original Paper Mario were the best Paper Mario. I'm not saying that they can't do anything interesting to top that, but the thing is they haven't been doing anything interesting with the most recent games, which is why everyone thinks they suck.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm not too familiar with Paper Mario. I didn't play it yet, but I know people have been complaining about the latest version, saying they are not as good as the one you just mentioned. So maybe, I don't know if the Switch one is gonna be better. That's up to people to judge. But well, good to know.
I'm kind of hopeful for the Switch one because a lot of people kind of complain how it's not a real RPG because there's no leveling. But maybe we could see getting better gear without needing levels, like Monster Hunter, I guess, that kind of format. And also better combat battle systems, because I think the older ones were really bad, or not like the more recent ones were really bad. They were too simple. They weren't as good, I guess.
Oh, this one is cool. What's your favorite play that nobody knows about?
I think everyone knows all my plays, to be honest.
Maybe something. I mean, I think you mentioned once that on your YouTube channel you would upload your full combos on a ranked stuff that people simply can't know about. So maybe you can, Willie, you can check his YouTube channel to see some perhaps unknown plays.
I don't think I have any unknown plays, but I guess one that I believe that didn't get as popular as it should have was Ego Shizord Beat Hard Rock or Genyu Kaiko SS. They both did get a lot of attention, but not as much as I thought they would have, I guess.
Which one was the Hard Rock one?
Ego Shizord Beat.
I have no idea what that is.
Okay,
so
then,
maybe that's
that one. Yeah, then that one.
I was thinking of Elemental Creation. I think it got noticed for 1 day and people kind of forgot it exists, but that score is crazy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think at least people acknowledge that. People didn't really acknowledge Ego Shizord Beat. People just thought it was Sidetrack Day or 2 or something. But yeah, it's not. It's way harder than that.
Yeah. Oh, this one is kind of interesting. I don't know if you can really respond, because personally, if someone asked me this, I wouldn't be able to say it, but there we go. What advice would you give to someone that has the hope of becoming a top player one day? Do you think it's possible for someone to become a top player when people like you or Vaxei exist?
Yeah, that's the point of becoming a new player, a new top player. You just because we're really good at the game doesn't mean that we will always be the best. People will always get better than what the things we set. And you're also seeing that right now, White Cat. And before White Cat was Vaxei, and before Vaxei was me, and before me was Tuna, and before Tuna, and so on. It's you could be a top player at any time, but you shouldn't sacrifice your life for it. Basically, it's not really worth it. But I believe that anyone can be a top player as long as they put maybe 2 hours of practice, of only practicing every day into Osu and just getting better and becoming the new best player, I guess. And that'll happen over a couple of years, but it's
Yeah, you shouldn't rush. I mean, people maybe think it takes little time, but in reality, I mean, we've all been playing for like 5 years plus, probably.
yeah. And also people like are too hard on themselves. Like they kind of just shit on themselves for not FCing a map because they kind of developed a really toxic mindset of they need to be the best, otherwise they suck. But that's not true at all. Like, if another advice for another upcoming player is that just try to have your mindset revolve around just beating yourself, like beating your old scores rather than beating like other people, because no one improves at the same rate.
Yeah. I kind of wanna wrap this up because I don't wanna ask you too many things, but I've got two interesting questions from chat, and then one I thought of myself because I forgot to ask you about that. So first one will be, what does playing for practice consist of for solo play? Just wondering how I should go about making my playtime more efficient. I think you mentioned this before, maybe someone plays 8 hours, but they only practice 1. So what does that mean to you?
This will be a pretty long response, but in terms of that 8-hour example, you could play for 7 hours for just like playing for passes or just like double tapping garbage or playing, like that doesn't matter. But in terms of like actually putting time into efficiently practicing, there are different standards. So like aim is different for that, reading is different for that, tapping is different for that. But for aiming, you just want to go for FCs basically, and tapping, you want to improve accuracy as well as what BPMs you can play. And reading, you kind of want to use I guess just like beating your old scores on maps. I can't really think of a certain way to practice reading other than, but yeah, you kind of want to use different guidelines rather than only PP or rankings as to rank up or to get better at the game.
Yeah, that's very interesting. This thing about reading, I mean, many people just usually say play AR8 and stuff like that. Is that any efficient, you think?
Well, if you jump from AR10 to 8, you're not gonna understand it. Like, I think you like reading is something that you kind of have to get used to. Personally, like you can't just go from AR10 to 8 and expect to play 8 and be good at it. That's not the thing. I pulled up this example a lot of times. It's like, I think aim is something what everyone can relate to, which is why I use it as an example. But it's kind of like jumping from, let's say you could FC a 6-star and all you do is play like 9 stars for quote unquote practice. Yeah, it's not really practice because it's too hard for you, That's kind of like the similarity with AR10 and 8. But you could learn to read AR8 just by, you could force yourself actually, but you have to start off with really low star rating and eventually work up like reading the complex patterns and more dense.
Yeah, that becomes easy on no mode for me, but whenever you get hidden on it, goodbye.
Yeah, I think like one thing that really screwed me up in hidden when I was learning was, it wasn't like streams or jumps or anything. It was trying to like differentiate the difference between doubles and perfect stacks. Those really screwed me up. But yeah.
How do you stay consistent on hidden in tournaments? You don't really play it all that much.
Like I said, consistency. Okay, I actually, back to that, I didn't really answer consistency definition in tournaments, but consistency for that is just getting an average score. Like you don't have to, like you could probably miss in the same place and you still be consistent, but at least that'll help you develop, like that'll help you strategize over your weaknesses rather than opponents. But for me, it's kind of the same. Like it's kind of also how I got good at speed. I just kept playing the pool over and over until I just got good. Like over the week, since usually map pools consist of maybe 3 hidden maps and 3 DT maps and like 2 free mods, that basically equals around like 50 playtime, like 50 plays on, DT speed or hidden every week. And yeah, times the time of the map. So that's like maybe that's like maybe like 5 hours every week put into just reading that or learning reading or learning speed. So that's kind of like how I get like maintain skills, or not even maintain, just get good in tournaments. Just I just play the map pool over and over until it just get good.
Nice, man. I like this thing about practicing map pools. You're supposed to practice it as much as possible so you perform your best during matches.
Yeah. And also one thing to know is that, and I'm not really good at reading hidden, but the reason why I'm able to play in tournaments as well is because since I play the map so much, I basically memorize everything. So it's not because I know like how to like if I was sight reading, that would be a different story than playing the same map 15 times,
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, after a certain point, if you don't mind block, you just FC.
Yeah.
All right, so last one from chat will be, do you agree that a map's gameplay as mappers depict in the editor is different to gameplay as players play the map?
Yes, because mappers, they think that just because you 20 miss a map and get like 83% means it's playable, but that's all I can say. Like the thing that makes maps playable is when players can FC it potentially, not get 50 misses and 83% 83% scores. Like I know that's a defense with a lot of mappers use. They're just like, oh, I got test plays from some top player, and this map is 1 minute long, but they only hit 40 seconds of map, so it's totally playable. That's not true at all. That's literally just like you play for 40 seconds and you don't hit anything for 20 seconds. That's like that's like the same thing.
Yeah, that's 1/3 of the entire map.
Yeah. It's like you could hit 40 seconds of the easy part and just not play for the hard part, and that's the same thing as playing the easy part and not hitting the hard part. So when mappers say stupid shit like, oh, this map is playable because this player got like even 90% on it, it's like that's not true. It's not playable. Even a pass is not playable.
That's the movement mapper voice you just did right there. Oh yeah, totally playable.
Yeah. So playable means potentially FCable. It doesn't need to be FC'd like on the spot. But if players are like getting like 3 misses on it, or not missing the same spot, or they like hit every single part except for some like really shit part, like even like one miss to hard, that's still playable. But like I said, if you're just missing the entire map, that is not playable. I don't know what mappers are on. They just use that as an excuse to get maps ranked. They don't really care about, actually. Yeah, they really don't care.
All right, so one last thing I wanted to ask you. I think you touched on this briefly before, but it seems like every time a new player gets number 1, there is this short period of time, or perhaps even long, a couple of months, where people just like don't really like that player for some reason. Maybe they start thinking it's undeserved or stuff like that. And the more time passes, the more those skills are recognized and they become beloved by the community. I mean, this has happened with Mafi, and I'm guilty of that. When Mafi got number 1, I was mad because he did it with farm maps. And this happened back in the day with HVIC too. It's very strange.
Yeah, I actually thought that way for Matthew too, but then like I was like, oh, this guy's just a farmer. But like when I saw all that hate he was getting, I could not stand for that. I just personally, I didn't really like I was like, oh, this guy's just farms, but that's not the case at all. Like he did some pretty insane plays after but yeah, I think it's fine. Well, I don't know what your question is, but personally, I just think it's fine that people, it's okay just to like not like a new player because they came out of nowhere and beat your old favorite player, but it's not okay to give them shit basically.
Yeah, has this happened? I don't think this has happened to you when you got number 1, because you did it in such a unique way. I don't think anyone had any right to shit on you.
Nah, people were like, oh dude, remember Matthew? He plays hidden DT and hard rock all together, while this guy only could play one. That's like literally what people say. But yeah.
So even you didn't escape this.
Yeah, not even me. And if people would say stupid shit like, oh dude, the PP system needs a nerf because space streams are overweighted, and that's exactly why space streams got. So there you go.
Oh my god, there's just no pleasure. Even getting number 1, you get shit on.
Yeah, even with Rafis, everyone fucking hated Rafis back then, but now everyone loves him. Same with HVIC, everyone's like, oh, Cookies is better, oh, Rafis is better, oh, Riruchi's like, even Riruchi back then got so much hate because
because Cookies was better.
Yeah, that was like, yeah, it's just like, personally, like I said, it's okay to just not agree that initially that it's okay to just think that it's really stupid how some person you don't know just defeated your favorite player, but it's definitely not okay just shitting on them and just like pretending they don't like they're not good because of it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it was different back when Mafi did it, because it was kind of, I mean, there was just a whole shift in the Osu farming culture, so it was like the poster child for that. But nowadays, it seems like the same thing is happening for White Cat, where people just think he's a fucking farmer, when in reality, I mean, we all know he's got insane scores under his belt.
Yeah, and yeah, but I guess like the good thing is he didn't get as much shit as Matthew at the time, but yeah. At least, one thing I also wanted to say is that at least fucking Matthew's hate stopped within a week or two. But like some other people have it worse. Like Freddie Benson just got shit on for 3 years straight. And,
oh my God.
Everyone was like, oh, this guy's just a farmer. And then like after he did fucking Airman DT, it was like, wait, this guy's actually good. It's like, no shit, dude.
Yeah, I mean, he got #1 still.
Yeah. And then like everyone still, people say stupid shit like, wait, this guy was #1? I did not know. It's just like, dude, you're such a dick.
I think in the case of White Cat, it's also got to do with the fact that I think Toy made a beautiful summary of this one time on Reddit, where he basically was talking about how players who are new and they come up so fast, they don't really have a face in the community, so it's hard for people to, accept them as being so highly ranked. Like, for example, if we think when Cookiezi got #1, I don't think anyone complained because he was so well known. I think that was 2017, right? He got #1. Or was
that's exactly what it was like 2015.
Yeah, man, no perception of time whatsoever right now.
Yeah, like I said, it's just like, it's okay. Like, it's okay to understand, like, just not accept a new player over your favorite player, because like, but it's not okay to shit on them.
Yeah, or at least, maybe if you want to be mad, do it once and then, think over it. Like, I only made one bad tweet about Mafia, okay? Hey. Then I realized, fuck it, this guy's actually fucking good. What the fuck?
Yeah.
All right, guys.
But yeah, I remember I used to think just Matthew was cheating because he was just so fucking good at the game. But yeah, I'm stupid. But like, that's just my opinion. But seeing all that hate go to Matthew actually just crushed me too. And I wasn't even like, even if I wasn't a fan, I hate people seeing people just get so much shit, like undeserved hate for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the nature of the game. I wonder if it's changing so much because the community is getting bigger. I mean, surely back in the day when people were shitting on Ruruchi, it wasn't really nearly as bad. Probably, I don't know.
I think it was. I wasn't there because when I joined, Ruruchi was #1, but I wasn't like involved in the community, so I can't really.
Yeah, I didn't know about rankings until like 1.5 years into playing, and I was already 5 digits. Then I found out what PP was. All right, man. I would like to thank you for coming on this podcast. Now, usually at the end of the podcast, I always tell my guests to just promote whatever they want. I mean, of course, since this is going on YouTube, I will link all of the social media stuff and that kind of thing. I don't think you have any projects on hold right now, but
nope.
You are very active on Twitch recently, and you're doing a lot of talking, like talking to your audience, to your viewers. So, maybe people can look forward to more of that. What do you think?
Wait, what's the question?
Are you gonna still keep streaming more and shit, or are you just gonna, it's just RNG because you're lazy?
Yeah, like I said, it's okay. The only reason why I don't stream and why I stream at such random times is because like I'm lazy. I kind of don't want to stream right now, and then like when I do feel like it, it's such a stupid. But yeah, I think like I said, I was on my stream before. I said I was planning to like try to have a schedule more, just because I was like thinking. I was just thinking if I could have a career in streaming, and so I might try to pursue that idea just for a little bit. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. But yeah.
Ooh.
So yes, I will stream more.
Very nice. I'm looking forward to your streams. I mean, I always watch them, usually with Koba when we are in voice call. We just watch you playing. I remember doing that. I miss that, man. All right. Thank you, man. Thank you for coming on the podcast, and I will look forward to seeing you on Twitch. Unfortunately, not in tournaments anymore, but thankfully, because I will be against you. And thank you for coming, man. I hope to see you around.
Thanks for the invite. All right. Goodbye.
Bye-bye, man.
Have a nice one.